This is a painting that I did several years ago, actually. And it's a good design, but I projected it. And I used to project all my boats because the shear lines are really hard to get. And even though it's a really good painting, it lacks the personality that I like to put into my work. So I'm happy with it, and I'm sure someone will love it someday, but it's not my most favorite piece, to be honest with you. Wow. So this is a painting that I did this winter for this show. And my husband and I go boating in the summer, and I'm always looking for a photo op. A photo opportunity. And I know Heather and Harper will know what I'm talking about. And I've had a couple of them. And in fact, I had one 3 weeks ago. We went to Vinyl Haven, and we were on this dock. And the fisherman came out and he said, well, you can be on my dock and take pictures, but don't go on my father-in-law's dock, because he has problems with liability. And I'm like, no problem, we won't go over there. So, you know, and we're very respectful. We always ask permission when we go to paint someplace or if we go on someone's dock. Well, the next time we went there, 2 days later, his father-in-law was there, and he said he had won all these lobster boat races in Stonington, and he wanted to show us his trophies. So he said, do you want to come into my fish house? And I'm like, oh, do I ever? So, because I saw Robert Beck here, and he had a painting with the buoys, and the guys who go out to Monhegan, they get in the fish houses, and, you know, they go drink up there and get drunk, and they take all these pictures. Well, you know, I can't really do that. So anyway, so this guy invited me in. And so it was so funny. He was a cute guy, and older man. And so he posed for me. He got behind his workbench, and he just posed, and he's like working on these little, I don't know what the heck they were, some little gadgets. And the buoys are over him and everything. And I thought, oh my God, I'm like in heaven. So I had another one a couple of years ago. We were down at, in Scarborough, at Scarborough Marsh, and we were doing a moonlight canoe ride through the marsh with Maine Audubon. And so I said to Tom, my husband, I said, I'm not taking any pictures tonight. And he's like, because I'm always like, can you stop? I mean, you know, I take 20 pictures. And so anyway, he's like kind of excited because I'm not going to take any pictures, and I really was going to hold to it. And it came around, and there's this dory. It's like the golden hour. And there's this photographer who put his dory out there to take pictures in the marsh. And the woman who's leading the tour said, I could fine you $5,000 for putting your dory out there. And we're like, we don't care, we're just like getting all kinds of pictures of this thing. I swear, I've taken like, I don't know, 6 or 7 of that dory in different, you know, I've like run out of ways to paint that dory. So anyway, so I'm always looking for a photo op, and you never know when you're gonna find one. Yeah. So the other thing that I do is I paint outdoors. In the summer, I go outdoors once a week, and so this is what I got last week. This woman who was a really good friend of mine, Martha, her husband is in a wheelchair, and she has caretakers. So some of the caretakers live down on West Point in these little old cottages, like little old Maine, that have never, you know, changed one little bit. And so this woman said, come on down and you can paint my yard or whatever. So I went down there, and this was her cousin's house next door. So I decided to make canvas prints for them because they were so kind to let me paint there. And I figured, oh, if I make a print, I better move back, you know. But anyway, so I showed the woman, Jean, the picture of her house, and she said, but you didn't put all the junk on the porch. I said, well, you know, I have to simplify a little bit. So anyway, that's the story of that. And then yesterday I went out to an island, Burnt Island off Boothbay with the plein air painters. And everybody's, you know, if there's a lighthouse out there, it's the most obvious thing to paint. And I'm like looking around, seeing what I want to paint, and I'm thinking to myself, just have fun. This is not about having a great painting, this is about having a good time. So I saw the view back to Booth Bay, and I said, with the tiger lilies and the water and the rocks, and I said, well, that's what I'm going to paint. And I was very happy with it. It had a good feeling. And that's what I'm after when I paint outdoors, is I want to bring that feeling that I have and inform my indoor painting when I'm in the studio, you know, for that long winter, because we can't, you know, I don't paint snow really. I like fair weather. So anyway, this is a painting that I did this year for this show. And it was a photograph that we took from our boat. And I liked the design, and I figured they're kind of in the focal point. And I try to get, there are design concepts in painting, in photographing. You kind of want to lead the eye where you want it to go. There's the rule of thirds, you know, you divide your canvas or whatever. And sometimes you zigzag, or maybe you have a circle. There are ways to keep the eye where you want it to go. And so I thought that water was a good lead-in to the subject matter, which is those guys. And what I do is I pre-mix all of my watercolors. I probably had 4 different values going on there, because you have to paint water fast to get the motion. And so I was all ready with my paints, and I don't know if it took a half hour, an hour, maybe 2 hours, but it was really, you know, fast for me. So that's what happened with that. And the other thing is, I don't normally paint figures. So what I do is I paint the whole painting, do an outline of the figures, and I do the figures last to fit in with the rest of the painting. So, and the play here basically is the complementary colors, which are the orange and the blues. And I do that with a lot of paintings, I think. I love red in a painting. I like to put red or orange in a painting. It gives the painting life. So I paint in oils. I try to paint with intention. So I try to know what I'm after when I'm painting a subject. And that is, you know, I can name the painting, but I have to know, am I going after the light? Am I going after the color? Am I going after the design? So these are some other paintings that I've done very recently. This one is a print of a 12 by 24. And I got this image many years ago. I took a photograph at dawn up in Camden. And it was great because it was low tide. So I got the, you know, the bottom. And I love that shows through. And then this is the dory that I've painted 7 or 8 times. All different sizes, so no one can complain too much. And they're all a little different. So anyway, and then this is another 20 by 20 that I just painted. And this was a little tricky. You know, it's hard to paint a dory and get all the ribs and everything when you do it freehand, but you know, a little imperfection adds a lot more character to a painting. So that's why I do it that way. And I've taken a lot of classes over the years, and I think I've learned something from everyone I've taken from. I don't know, it's just really, it's fun. It's like what you were saying about, you know, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. And I love what I do. So that's it. Thank you.